Hello and welcome to the Drexel interview. I'm your host, Paula Morantz-Cohen, speaking to you from the university's Picture Gallery. Today our guest is the Honorable Gwendolyn A. Faison, Mayor of Camden, New Jersey. Mayor Faison served as City Council President from 1997 to 2000, at which time she was appointed to the position of mayor when the former mayor was forced to leave office. She won re-election in 2001 and 2005. She is 82 years old. Mayor Gwendolyn Faison.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Drexel
Thank you
interview.
very much. Thank you.
You are a phenomenon.
Oh, thank you.
You are 82 years old. I can't believe it. When you walked in here, I couldn't believe it.
Absolutely. February 14th, 1925.
Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Oh, so
yes.
you're Valentine's baby.
Yes. Yes.
But you are amazingly youthful. You're amazingly energetic.
Well, I'm totally blessed. I feel good and I'm healthy.
You're healthy.
Yes.
And have you always been healthy? Have you always
Yes,
had this
I
energy?
have. I've always felt really good about things, healthy, and just totally blessed.
Because most 82-year-olds would be taking it easy, and you are at the helm of one of the most challenging, if not the most challenging city in the country.
And I love it. I love the challenge. This is I'm on my third retirement.
Your third retirement, and that's
Yes.
quite a retirement.
Yes, yes.
Well, I know that one of the important things you do as mayor is you are very much present in the city. You attend
Yes.
civic events. You attend all sorts of special events for the
Yes.
city. You know people. You're out there in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about what you think that does and what your personal style as mayor is.
As a mayor, you must have passion for people. We are really public servant. And I love being among people. And if you want a good community, good residents, you must empower them. So how do you empower people? You must afford them the opportunity to get the information, to be educated. The biggest problem is why many people do not come out and vote. They do not understand the process. They do not understand government. Not that they will understand all the details, and that's not important. But we as mayors, we have to stay in contact with our residents. And that's one of my passions, to always sponsor outreach informational meetings with my residents. So I attend church, I attend the receptions, I attend funerals, weddings, I go everywhere.
Yes, I know that. You're always around.
Yes.
People know you and you're approachable.
Yes.
Now tell us about the challenges facing Camden. I mean, we hear that Camden is suffering in so many ways. Tell us what you see as the major problems, and tell us what you see as the things that you're working on or that you see as hopeful for the city.
Our biggest challenge in our city that we do not have jobs. We do not have the ratables, and it's just awful in a way because of our not having ratables, and we're almost all going to dumping grounds. I like to say
What do
it
you
because
mean when you say we don't have
in the
ratables?
city of Camden,
Yeah.
we have over 50% nonprofits, or we say places or buildings or agencies that do not pay taxes, even though maybe they're in need of it. We talk about the prisons, even though we need our hospitals and colleges. But so we have a structural deficit. I tell you, we're at the point that we hardly collect enough taxes even to pay our health insurance expense. The biggest problem is we just do not collect enough ratables to keep the city going. We collect about 20 million, maybe even less, in property taxes, but our budget stands about 164 million. So certainly we have to depend on the state. And when you have to depend on the state, then you have to take a lot of orders, have to take a lot of advice. Only if we could get monies to train our persons so they could be employed, to be able to earn a decent living, to have decent housing. But if we had those jobs, I think that would be the best thing could happen to a city.
So what's the way to do that? I mean, the state hasn't taken over the city at this
Yes.
point. And has this reduced your effectiveness as mayor? And what do you think needs to be done?
Well, that's a good question. There's a pro and a con. maybe had it been any other mayor that was in their early part of their career, it could have affected them. But since I guess I'd say I have completed my career, my first career, when the state took over, we call it the Mere Act, my governance was taken away from me. But we have an appointed person called the Chief Operating Officer. But it says in consultation with the mayor. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm a firm believer, since I love my city, I'm going to do the things that the residents want me to do. And I have to do the day-to-day operations. Of course, the COO does a lot of redevelopment. They have given us monies to do certain things, but it was regulated by the legislature. Maybe I would have liked to see more money in training in the neighborhoods, but most of the money were put, not that we do not need our colleges and hospitals, and either the waterfront, but there was not enough money put into our education and our neighborhoods where people's lives are affected. You understand?
Yes, I do.
So even though that's why I say it's pros and cons, when someone else is pulling the reins and telling you what to do, when I am a mayor, I live there. I don't sit behind the desk. I know the needs of our people. Of course, I can't do the job alone. I need help from everyone. But I'm close to the situation. But yet, sometimes I'm not allowed to make the choices, even as a mayor.
So that's frustrating at times.
It is frustrating, but I have to remember this is a job that I asked for. And I tell anyone who would seek the job of a mayor, it's a 24/7. You can't be thin-skinned. You have to stand for what you believe in, even though you're bruised. And you have to stand up for your people. It's not easy, but it can be done. Because if I can do it, you can do it.
Well, you're a very resilient and optimistic person from what the little I can see of you.
Yes.
And so that allows you, I guess, to deal with some of these issues that could be frustrating and even break another person.
But see, I have had experiences. When someone said, tell me the story, it's not something that I heard, something that I learned. It's something that I lived, coming from a poor family, father working on the WPA. I would have never seen the doors of Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, had it not been for my dad working on WPA and having to work and take other jobs and go to night classes and do all the things that maybe some people would not make the sacrifice, but it has paid off. And I'm not complaining. It was a great experience, and I'm happy. Maybe it prepared me to do the job that I'm doing now.
So you grew up poor in North Carolina.
Yes, I did. Clinton, North Carolina.
Clinton, North Carolina.
Yes.
And you sort of worked your way up.
Yes.
And you obviously have a feeling for people who have not had a lot.
Absolutely.
And this has allowed you, do you think, to do certain things that others couldn't in Camden?
Absolutely. I hear them crying. I share their needs. It goes back to even when I was appointed as the mayor. And I hate to say it, we had some unfortunate mayors. We had about 3 negative mayors out of 5. Now, here I come, little old lady. I mean, who's going to trust me? I mean, they have been disenfranchised. They've lost their hope. But there was a certain spirit about my determination that we're going to make it. It wasn't easy, but at least we built the hope up, and then people began to participate. I didn't even really have that much money to start with. And I want to give credit to my financial department. This is a good story they should know, because there's no Mayor 101. It's still about common sense, serving with the education.
Yeah.
They taught me how to use the monies that were out for grants that were slow moving. And we began to put money in the neighborhoods, little things like streetscaping, trees, sidewalks, and the people begin to say, oh, we believe that she's going to do something. And if you get the hope and the spirit built up, and people begin to have faith, they begin to come and help me. And that's how we all began.
So when you were city council president, which was about, 10 years ago or so?
Well, let's put it this way. I started on the council in 1983.
Okay.
And I stayed on to 95, and I lost an election, and I thought I'd go fishing, but other people had other ideas. I was asked to come back in 97, and I won the election and was asked to be president. And as you've already mentioned, I was president when the mayor was no longer the mayor.
And then you were appointed to the
I was appointed
position.
to the
and then
position.
you won election twice.
Yes, I did. I won the election in 2001.
So was that something you ever had imagined, that you would be mayor of
No,
Camden?
never. I
It
didn't
just
even
happened,
imagine.
and then you went with it, and you went with it twice.
Absolutely.
And it's been a contentious time in some ways. That
Yes,
second
it has.
campaign,
Oh.
there was controversy.
Yes.
There was a bitter dispute with the Democratic rival Nelson
Yes.
Cruz Perez.
So you know that, huh?
Yes, there was.
I wasn't even endorsed by my own party.
Now, how do you account for this problem? Is there a rift between the Latino population and the African American population in Camden?
I really don't think it's that serious. There's always a group of activists in every ethnic group, but it's not enough to really tear down a territory. There were problems during that election because it's the way people feel. And you know what? When I was a young person, I guess I said when you're 80, you're old, and you are. I am an older person. In fact, I'm a super senior, but I still have a good brain. You know, I can do the job. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people didn't understand it. And this is a little story. People begin to say, she needs to step aside, but I felt I had a job to do. And I have a little pride. And when I was asked to step aside, I just didn't feel like no one should tell me what to do at that time. So I ran for the election, and it wasn't that easy. I'm not really bragging about it. It was tough. But I was so happy that I certainly tried to group myself with people like my seniors, my church people, my ministers, and good people. And with the fewer people than the opponents had, which, I mean, we've had a healing now. Everything is fine now. I love everybody now because I need everybody. But no one could have told me I was going to win that election. Everything, it was not in my favor.
But you did.
Yes, I don't want to put my spirituality on anybody. I think it was only God, I tell you. I think he had a plan for me. But then sometime I wonder, I ask him sometime, please don't leave me alone in this situation. But it's working out.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Now, the publicity that Camden gets, I wonder, is it good or bad for the city? I'm thinking in particular of this 2020 episode with Diane Sawyer that got so much play, and I wonder if you were ambivalent about that, because on the one hand it got a lot of attention for the city, on the other I wonder if it was the kind of attention you wanted or not.
Truly, I have mixed emotions, and please believe me, it's not that I am not grateful, but had Diane Sawyer, as the mayor, let me have known that she was in the city, one good thing came from that is I have called the ministers together and asked for an inventory. Had I done that prior, there are many churches that have feeding programs, clothing. Had we known that, that little boy, Ivan, would have never been hungry. Yeah. So it did at least help us this way to come together and pool our resources.
And spotlight.
Yeah. So we had some good. There were contributions. The family got a new home. Mm-hmm. The other family had an apartment. But I would have liked to have been more involved in this way. There was 3 families that were helped dearly. If I could have gotten more involved, I would have liked to been able to help more than just the 3 families because there's problems all over. So I'm not saying I'm not grateful. I thank her and everyone else for what they did do, but I believe we could have done a better job. Yeah. So that's my personal feeling.
It is true. You think that those are just 3 families, and there were so many families.
So many families.
Yeah, and I also wonder, do you feel that it made the city out to be in worse shape than it is, or was it it certainly gave a very...
It gave us publicity.
Yeah.
And it was a wake-up call that it made many people begin to communicate with each other, wanting to do a better job. So that's why I said it had its pros and cons. Mm-hmm. So I'm thankful for that. And the family that got the new home was quite deserving because